I've been a bit busy. Very busy. I'm going to be sat here for most of this one. I can't be asked to walk around. Sorry! Anyway, my first video was a lot of waffle really. Maybe interesting waffle, who knows? But following on from that and sort of hinting that I'd like to model the buildings from Sandside, a location which is now in South Cumbria, things have moved on a little bit. The station hasn't. I've put that off for the time being, and the cardboard mock-up, well, that's not going anywhere. Maybe the dustbin. But as we can see here, I have done other buildings. So one of the challenges with the station was the stonework, as I mentioned, and there's nothing really available commercially to depict it. So what I ended up doing was trying out a couple of other buildings first and have a go at scribing onto Plastikard. Now, scribing onto Plastikard is about as much fun as it sounds. Here we have some 40,000 Plastikard. And here we have some of the tools I've been using. Well, all the tools really, apart from glue. As you can see, various scribers, a craft knife, some files, set square, and a big ruler. And it's hard to get across just how involved it is scribing Plastikard. There's advantages and there's disadvantages. The advantages, of course, is that you can depict stonework, etc., as it is in reality. The disadvantage, quite obviously, is that it takes a long time. So the first building I had to go at scribing the stonework for was this, Sandside signal box. Only a small building, as you can see, but to get the stonework right, scribing was the best option. And this building I thought was going to be very simple. Just a box, it's called a signal box, isn't it? But if you look closely, you can see that the stone layers are all set in. And depicting that and getting it right, well, that was a challenge. But I like a challenge. And the thing is, it's allowed me to model a box as it was, with the stonework as it was. And yes, the colours are about right. Sandstone coins and lintels and local limestone for the rest of the building. Apart from the chimney, that was brick. And in case you're wondering, this is going to be the steps and the landing. Obviously, there's no steps yet. They'll go there. Signal wasn't that good at jumping. So, happy with the proof of concept of scribing stonework and with blisters aplenty, I tackled the next building. Still not the station. Nope, I went for the goods shed. Bye-bye. Now, the goods shed was long gone from my memory, but luckily, very luckily, similar buildings built to the same design still exist in a number of furnace stations, including at Grange-over-Sands. So I was able to go onto Google Earth and not only look at what the stonework was like, but also get the dimensions using a measuring tool. That helped a lot. Again, not the easiest of buildings, it may look it, but it had these raised bits coming out. I'm not sure I know the name, but I don't. It had the porch for the loading dock. And on the back, you'll see, I haven't scribed all the way up because that was set into the ground. So one of the challenges with modelling an actual location, especially when you know well, is you want to get everything right. You want everything to be as much as possible where it was, how it looked at the time you're depicting. One of the buildings, which has taken a lot of effort to get right, isn't actually related to the railway at all, or the quarry. It's a building I know very well because it still exists. Recently, it's been tarted up, but when we were kids, it was a dump. So the first thing I did was make a cardboard mock-up of the building. You can see here, and I tried using Das modelling clay to see if I could scribe onto this. Didn't go well. It served its purpose though, as proof of concept. And after a lot of scribing, and I mean a lot, here we go. Berry's warehouse. Now, it might look a bit odd at the bottom. That's because it was buried deep into a hillside. But, as you can see, it's depicted as it was. And I mean as it was. It looks all fancy now. So even things like the archway there, which was half filled in, is included. Locked off windows, the bizarre wooden thing there. And it looks a bit odd because I spent 2 months scribing it out and then used squadron green putty to fill the mortar courses back in. And the reason for that is because the mortar was so thick on it that a lot of the time you couldn't even see the stone. Gonna be fun to paint. And there we go, progress. Quite a lot of, I suppose. May seem odd to build the buildings first, but if you don't get the buildings right, then there's no point in continuing with a prototype location because it just wouldn't be right, especially when you know it well. So I wanted to model the buildings, get them right, and then I can continue. Next, maybe that station, who knows? And got the wet. And yes, I suppose I could have done a show and tell how I scribed the stonework, but really? You do that, and then that, and you clean it up a bit. It wouldn't make for great video viewing, honestly. Anyway, I'll put another video up at some point soon, probably another 3 or 4 months. Until then, bye bye.